Okay, now that you have your terrain set up, um, let's just go ahead and create our terrain. So again, we are in the terrain editor tool, and I'm going to go ahead and create a bunch of mountains here. And so this would be my mountain area. Okay, and now that we are here, let me save all my material here, and let me go to the terrain editor, and for the terrain layer, let's change our maximum and minimum slopes for material 2 and material 1 at 0.5, and save our materials. So that we would get some more rocks here, because the slope of 1 is almost 45 degrees, which is way too much for rocks to appear at slope of 45. So I'm just basically making the mountains as you see here, and of course those white stuff are snow. And so here is my mountain range out there. Alright, and now let's increase our brush. So I'm going and I'm putting out the basic touches here. Alright, and then I want to have a riverbed, and so for taking the terrains and painting it down, or basically making your terrain to go down, you just hold the control button, and then you'll just right click, and so here is a riverbed that I am creating. Alright, so this is the basic riverbed here. Okay, and then you can make smaller brushes and then put some finishing touches on your mountain. So here I'm just adding a little bit by playing with the fall off values. Okay, so I just place some small little mountainy things here. Okay. Alright. So, and again, these green areas are going to be grass. These brown areas are going to be rocky areas, and I will have the white areas that are going to be my snow. So let's save our level here. Okay, and then you can play with these other areas. So for example, this flatten tool would flatten the area, so it creates a plateau down here, and then you can use the smooth brush to smooth out the harsh edges of your mountains and so forth. Okay, now I'm pretty satisfied with this, and you can work with this terrain and make it as much as you would like it to be. So and let's just play this level one more time real quick. Okay, so here's how my level looks like. This is gonna be my riverbed down here, and the mountains are gonna be up there. Alright, and let's just fly over this terrain. Okay, so here is a bird's eye view of this terrain. Alright, now let's go down and let's make the materials for this terrain. So first off, I need to bring some textures. Your book has a bunch of packages with textures and normal maps. I have created, I've used some textures, and let me show you where my textures are. I found some textures that basically are from snow and some pebble textures and some grass textures, and we're going to use and some rock textures, and we're going to use the rock texture, grass texture, and the snow texture for these three materials that we have. And then if I have some more time, I'll show you how to add some the pebbles, and I'll show you how to create the normal map in GIMP. I created normal maps for the other textures in GIMP. So let's go back to our material here, and let's import the textures in. So click on import, and then import the textures. I need to get the rock 2 normal, grass normal, and snow normal. And then I'll import these, and I'll put them in textures group. So I'll put all these textures in the textures group of my package for the map that I created here. And so as you see here, well, I didn't import them into the correct package, I believe. Let's see if I did. There they are. Okay, alright, now is the time to create the materials for these objects. I'm going to go to my material section and right click and click on material, new material, and I call it real grass, and choose from the textures. I'll choose the grass texture. Actually, I need to open my real grass material, choose the real grass texture, bring it as a texture map, and then click on grass normal, bring the normal map in, connect the normal map, and then I'll have to connect my grass material to the diffuse, and as you see here, my grass looks, with the normal that I have, it now looks pretty realistic. Now you can go crazy and make really nice grassy material, and your snow and other kinds of materials. Now let's go back to the materials, and from the real grass, let's duplicate this and call this real rock, and then I would have to replace its textures with the rock textures. So go on your texture and replace the rock texture and the normal texture for the rock, and then save your material, and then go back to the materials and then duplicate your material and make it real snow, and then open it into your material editor. Let me just close all the other ones. Okay, and then go to textures and choose the snow texture and select your texture sample and replace the snow texture and click on the snow normal and replace your normal map. This way you'll get your snow textures also set up. Okay, now that I have these materials, I need to make terrain materials off of these. I can duplicate my terrain simple materials that I had, and so go ahead and create a duplicate copy for your grass, and instead of tmat grass 01 I make it tmat grass real. Okay, and then double click on it and then go to your materials and choose the real grass material and replace the material of your basic grass with real grass in your texture material. And then go back to your texture materials one more time. So now we have the real grass. Now I duplicate my rock material with rock real and duplicate the snow material with snow real. Okay, and then in the rock material I'll choose the rock material and replace the rock terrain material with the real rock material, and then go back to the terrain materials, double click on snow real. When you have the properties open, choose your real snow and replace your object from the content browser. So now I have 3 real snow, real rock, and real grass materials, and I created 3 terrain materials: real rock, real snow, and real real grass terrain materials. Now I'm going to save all my texture materials and terrain materials, and so here with the height map that I have, I can go ahead and double click on my terrain layer that I created and replace the terrain materials within my terrain layer setup with the actual real terrain materials. So okay, from my terrain layer that I have, I'll go to material 0, and instead of tmat snow 01 I'll choose tmat real snow here, or snow real, and replace it. Okay, now my snow is replaced. Now go to your material for rock, which will be the next one. Instead of tmat rock 01, choose tmat rock real and apply it. And then open up your second material, which is the grass, and instead of tmat grass 01, apply tmat grass real. Okay, and now that you have it, we'll save our layer setup. And once your layer setup is saved, now your real materials are going to be applied onto your terrain, as you see down here. Now, if you noticed, some of your materials may look patchy, as you see here. We can go ahead and play with rotation and base UV scaling of your terrain materials. So if we go to, for example, TMAT grass, we can actually change the mapping to 16, and this way your grass patches will be larger, so they won't look as uniform looking, and so you can play with these details and so forth, and create your materials. We can even create two different layers, two different levels of terrain materials, and if you follow your book, it will show you how to do that. So you can create two terrain materials, one basically your base material with your, for example, as you see here, your base mapping scale, and the second one you can make it at a different mapping scale. Actually, now that we're at it, let's make our grass two different layers. So we go to our content browser, and we go to terrain materials. So we have terrain materials, TMAT grass reel, TMAT rock reel, and TMAT snow reel, and we could create from a duplicate of TMAT and call it TMAT grass reel details. And then I can open my terrain layer, and then from my terrain layer properties, I can duplicate my second level material, and for alpha I make this alpha at 0.5, and then for the third material I'll go ahead and from the terrain materials I choose the TMAT grass reel 2 reel detail, and then I apply it. Okay, and now that I have this, my terrain material, I can make this, for example, at 4 mapping scale, which will give me more details for these objects. And if I save my package, terrain materials, and my terrain layer setup, you will see that now I have different detailed mappings on my terrains. As I go closer, my materials would be rendered with a different level of details. Okay. Alright, so now I have my my materials set up. Now I can add a bunch of meshes into my level, my terrain, by using the decoration layers or deco layers of my terrain. Deco layers, I mean, Unreal used to have a foliage system and a decoration system, and with the foliage system you could add meshes like the materials that like terrain materials that we had here, and then you could paste them onto the surface of your terrain. With the decoration layer, you create a layer that will have some meshes scattered with a random number of and random density in it, and then you can paint it onto your terrain. Actually, you paint meshes onto your terrain. The difference between foliage and mesh was that you could set foliage's visibility values for your foliages, and so when you were farther from a certain amount of units, then they would not be rendered, whereas deco layers are always rendered, and the only time that you won't see them if they're behind an object or a part of a terrain. So we don't have foliage anymore. With the foliage setup in UDK, you would go to your terrain materials. You would double click on your terrain materials, and then here you have a material. You could assign a material. You would have a foliage section that you could assign to it a mesh that would be patched on, but now it's gone. But with deco layer, you actually create a new layer for your terrain. So here's my new terrain. If I right click, I can create a new decoration layer, and let's say here I call it trees deco layer. Okay, and when you have this, you can put a bunch of different meshes into this decoration layer, and then you can patch them or paste them onto your terrain, actually paint them onto your terrain. The way to do this is that you need to go and find some meshes. You can import static meshes for trees, for example, tree barks, some meshes for, say, like shrubs and things of that nature. Now I'll go on the UDK. Now let's click on static meshes, and here I'll click on this static mesh for fern, and then right click on your deco layer, and then add I need to go to the properties for this deco layer, and then I need to add my objects to it. See the decorations. Right now I have no decorations here. So the way to set your decorations in, choose your tree layer decoration or tree deco layer that you created. Click on the properties, and then under the deco layer, you have one deco layer here, which is number 0. Then under the decoration, add layers. I want to add 2 objects to this. Click on the 0 object, and then expand your deco layer, and then click on the sub layer, and then right click on it and click on use selected. That way it assigns that static mesh of this fern into your object here, or your deco layer here. And then let's see, we will have a banana tree, for example. I left click on it on the content browser, and then left click on the decoration layer, sub layer, and then right click on it and click use selected. And this adds the new static mesh component to your object. Let's see, we could also add some more trees, for example. Let's choose another static mesh. That would be the static mesh for clover clump, and then right click and add selected decoration. And as you see, the selected decoration will be added to your decoration layer. So you can add as many objects and things as you want. Let's actually add another decoration layer. So let's close this decoration layer, and let's add a new deco layer, and I call this plant deco layer. Okay, and then in the plant deco layer, click on the clover plant 1, and then click on use selected decoration, and then let's see if we can find another plant. Okay, grass clump. I choose the grass clump and add selected decoration. These are all static meshes, and so I'm just adding these static meshes to my decoration layers. So now I have 5 static meshes added to 2 different decoration layers. Now if you click on the tree decoration layer and click on properties, you'll see that you have 2 deco layers, deco layer 0 and deco layer 1. So in deco layer 0, if you go to decorations, you see that there are 3 decoration items here. Decoration item 0, which was from the fern, I can make the scales to be at 25% to 75% of the actual mesh, and I can make its density at 0.25%, and slope rotation blend 1. For the second object, which was my tree, I can make it 5 times, actually 1 times minimum scale and 5 times maximum scale. So this is the scales that I have. 0.5 would be the density of that the trees, and then for my clover, I can make it into 0.5 to 3 is the size. The density, let's put 1.5, and slope rotation blend 1. And then let's close these meshes that we have here, and let's open the second layer, and let's make the minimum scale of the second objects to 1 and 2, and the density to 25%, and then random seed 1, minimum density 0.5 to 1.5, density 3, and rotation 1, random seed 4. Okay, now I have set up my deco layers and the density and the way that they should look like. Now choose one of the deco layers, and as you see here, you can change your brush. For example, here I'll add a huge brush like that, and then if you hold Control, then you can add your decorations to it. Oh yes, I need to click on Paint. So click on Paint, and then you can paint your decoration layers. Okay, so here are my trees. Let's make it bigger. Okay. So here, as you see, I have my tree decoration layer set up here, and then let's click on the plant decoration layer, and so I am painting now these little plants, as you see down here, into my level. Okay. Alright, so everything is set up, and I'll just build my lighting, and I play this level one more time and see how it works. Okay, so as you see, the plants, these little meshes, are painted now, and I have the trees, and the size of the trees are basically with the minimum and maximum scale of the objects that I had, and they are scattered randomly. Okay, so this looks this looks pretty good, and so my outdoor level has been set up. I have my deco layers painted on, and I have my terrain painted with my terrain layers set up, and the materials are the terrain materials that I used for my my terrain. Now next is to set up some water for my riverbed here. So here the idea is to bring in a liquid or fluid surface actor. So click on Content Browser, go to Actor Classes, go to Fluid Surface Actor, and click on Fluid Surface Actor, and then right click and add Fluid Surface Actor to your level. Now you want to add this fluid surface and scale it so that it would cover most of your level. So I'm just scaling this fluid surface actor. Scale it uniformly and scale it up so that it would cover my level. And then bring it onto your level, and align it with your level, just as you see here. Alright, I need to scale a bit more. Okay, now I'm moving my fluid surface, and then I would have to move it down until I only see this surface on the riverbed, and need to move it a bit that way, and then let's right click and play our level. So here is my water surface, and so as you see, the water surface, because it's a fluid surface, when you shoot at it, it shows like water waves on it. Okay, now let's adjust this a little bit more. Yeah, moving my terrain up a little bit more. Alright, and so now everything is set up and adjusted properly. And now click on your terrain, your fluid surface, and let's play with the fluid properties. So for example, let's change the height scale into, let's say, 5, and fluid dampening to 25%, and travel speed to 2. So this way it will react more like a okay, so yeah, now you will see the waves traveling on your fluid surface. Okay, and let me just build my lighting one more time because I moved my level a little bit. And let's close up the terrain materials. Now next up is to apply a water material to the surface of this fluid. So press F4 on your fluid, and then you see the fluid material. Click on Content Browser and then choose Materials, and I'm going to look for a water material from the Unreal own packages, internal packages. In the search window you can just press water, and so you have a MUN liquid BSP water 02. Let's assign this water to your material here, to your surface. And here is how this water looks like. So if you play, and here is the surface. Well, the waves are kind of big here for this water surface. I can open my content browser and let's see if I can find an instance of this water. Let's choose a material instance instead of the material. Okay, let's apply, double click on this material. Okay, this material is not too customizable. I'll actually go with my own materials. I had 2 instances that I created earlier, so this is my water. And let's double click on it. That looks a pretty good water here to me. And when I choose this, I go on my fluid surface. and I'm applying my own water material to it. Okay, it's a little bit better. Let's look for another water, maybe a better one. Let's load the advanced materials that we created last unit, and from there let's choose the water, and then let's apply that water onto our fluid surface material. Okay, I'm much more happy with this water now. Okay, so you see the waves on the water surface, you see the reflection, and when we hit the water, the waves travel on the water surface. But if you go inside that water surface, this doesn't look like underwater. To set that up, we need to set a volume, and the volume that we set up is going to be a post-process volume. So click on your cube map and scale this cube map, so that it would be the size of your level here. So I'm just non-uniformly scaling this map, this brush, okay, and then I'm placing it at right about where my fluid surface is. So basically I want to create an area which is called the volume, and place it right underneath the surface of your water, and make it big enough to be basically big enough for the entire underwater area of your level. And then move in and move your brush right under, just a tiny little bit under the surface of the water fluid that you created. And I need to scale it a little bit more so that it's big enough so that it would cover the bottom of the terrain. So as you see, this red area is my builder brush. And then right click on the volumes and then click on the post-process volume, and then move your builder brush down, and now this pink volume is your post-process volume. Press F4, and as you see here, click on enable DOF. That enables the focal distance of your the camera that's creating the content of your post-processing of your pixels. And then if you change the values, for example DOF blur kernel, make it like, for example 24, for example, and kernel size, let's make it 8, fall off exponent 4 is good, and this way I'll have set up my post-process volume. So when you're inside that volume, whatever you see is going to go through the post-process, which basically, as you see here, it's making the objects that are far enough to kind of be blurry. Now I need to change some more properties of this to get the effects that I need. So I have the degree of the focus, the inner focus radius, let's make it 64. Now let's play the level. Okay, now as you see here, now the objects look blurry underwater, and when you go outside the water, if I can get out of here, the things become less blurry. Okay, so if you go in under the water, things are blurry. Out of the water, things are not blurry, and your character interacts with the water and creates waves. Now, next, if you wanted this water to be swimmable, you would bring your builder brush the same size of the volume, and then you place it just a little bit under, right click on volumes, and then choose a physics volume. And now this second pink volume that I created is going to be my physics volume. So if you press F4 and then under the physics volume, you can see that you can add properties. So you can create damage type to your character, and you can make your character, for example, float on the water. Make ground friction makes it more difficult to walk on, and so let's see. If you make it pain causing, if your character is inside of it as if it's drowning, it can cause damage to your character, and can make some damage per second. Okay. Now, playing this level and going inside the water. Oh yes, that would be my physics volume that causes pain and damage to my object. Now, to make it a floatable surface, create a new volume, and for this volume I'll just place it a tiny bit above the water surface. Right click and click on water, UT water volume, and when you add this water volume, now this third volume is going to be a water surface that you could basically float in. So if you play the level now, now this surface will become swimmable. Okay. Alright, well, I hope that you'll have fun with this creating this level, and I'll talk to you for the next learning unit. Thanks for watching this tutorial. Bye now.